Quick gut check before we start. When you picture rich, what shows up in your head? A mansion? A yacht? A card with no limit? Here's the problem, that picture is wrong almost every time. Because being rich isn't one thing. It's at least 10 completely different things, built in completely different ways, behaving in completely different ways, and in some cases, disappearing in completely different ways too. Some of these people you'd walk right past in a grocery store line and never know it. Others can't help but announce it from the rooftops. Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll be able to spot exactly which type of rich someone is, just by how they act, and you might even recognize which one you're quietly becoming. Let's start with the one everyone's heard of, but few actually. Understand. Old money. This is wealth that's been handed down for generations. Names like the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, the Astors. Nobody in this group built their fortune from nothing. They inherited a system that was already working. And here's the part most people miss. Old money is almost never loud. No flashy logos, no bragging. Instead, the money quietly flows into things that last. Land, fine art, private schools, businesses that have survived 100 years. For old money, wealth isn't something you spend. It's something you protect. The entire goal, generation after generation, is simple: leave more behind than you were given. Now flip that completely. New money is wealth earned in a single lifetime, with zero inheritance behind it. Think Bezos, think Gates, people who started with an idea and nothing else. Entertainers, athletes, founders who grew up with empty pockets and turned one good decision into a fortune. And unlike old money, new money is often impossible to miss. The cars, the homes, the watches, they're on full display. That's not always ego. A lot of the time, it's just someone experiencing real wealth for the first time in their life and not quite knowing how to be quiet about it. And here's a number that might surprise you. Somewhere around 2/3 of the world's ultra-wealthy today didn't inherit a dime. New money isn't the exception anymore. It's the majority. Inside that new money group sits a category that's only existed for about 30 years, the tech rich. These are the coders and founders who built companies that rewired how the entire planet operates. What makes them different isn't just the size of their wealth, it's the speed. A company started in a garage could be worth billions within a handful of years. Google, Amazon, Facebook. These fortunes were built faster than any oil baron or railroad tycoon in history ever managed. And weirdly, a lot of the tech rich barely look the part. Same hoodie, same beat-up sedan, while quietly owning a piece of everything around them. Then there's one of the oldest paths to wealth on the planet, real estate. These are the people who got rich buying, fixing, and holding property. What sets them apart from almost every other type on this list is patience. They don't think in years, they think in decades. They understand something simple: land can't be manufactured, and it can't be duplicated. A lot of them started with one small rental, used that income to buy a second, then a third, and let that slow compounding do the heavy lifting. It's not flashy, it's not fast. But real estate consistently sits among the top wealth-building industries on the planet, right alongside banking. Now here's a type of wealth that behaves nothing like the other celebrity rich. This money doesn't arrive slowly. It arrives in sudden, massive bursts. One viral song, one blockbuster, one breakout moment, and millions show up almost overnight. But here's the twist: fame and wealth are not the same thing, and plenty of famous people go broke fast. The ones who actually stay rich are the ones who treat fame as starting capital, not the finish line. Rihanna didn't just sell music, she built Fenty Beauty into something worth more than her entire catalog. For celebrity wealth to last, the fame has to fund something bigger than itself. Closely related is athlete rich wealth, built on contracts, endorsements, and for the smartest ones, real investments on the side. What makes this category unique is the clock. A pro athlete might only have 10, maybe 15 years at the top before the paychecks stop completely. LeBron James understood that early. Long before he ever talked about retirement, he was already building a portfolio in media, pizza chains, and his own entertainment company assets that ended up making him richer than basketball ever did. The athletes who stay wealthy are the ones who treat their playing career as a salary, not a destination. Then there's a type of wealth that builds nothing visible at all: investor rich. No product, no company, no famous name attached to a building. Just money, moved patiently into stocks, bonds, and businesses. then left alone for decades. Warren Buffett never invented a single thing, and he still became one of the richest humans alive just by recognizing good businesses and refusing to sell. The strange part about investor wealth is how invisible it is in the early years. It just sits there, quietly compounding in the background, until one day, the number on the account becomes impossible to ignore. Crypto created something the world had never really seen before, wealth that could appear almost overnight. A few $100s dropped into Bitcoin or Ethereum early enough, held through the chaos, and multiplied into something life-changing. A lot of the people in this category have zero traditional finance background at all. They just noticed something new before everyone else did, and took a risk. Most people were too scared to take. The catch? What took real estate or stocks decades to build, crypto sometimes built in months and just as easily wiped out in months too. This one gets confused with old money constantly, but it's different. The inheritor didn't grow up inside a dynasty. They lived a normal life, and then one inheritance from a parent, a grandparent, completely changed the trajectory overnight. Some inheritors treat that money the exact same way old money families do. Protect it, grow it, pass it forward. Others burn through it fast, completely unprepared for the responsibility that landed in their lap. And the data backs this up. A huge share of people who receive a large inheritance lose most of it within just a few years. Managing money is a skill. It doesn't come bundled with the check. And finally, the type almost nobody expects: the quiet rich. Teachers, mechanics, accountants. People who look completely ordinary, drive a 10-year-old car, still clip coupons at the grocery store, and have an investment account that tells a totally different story. Researchers studying hundreds of millionaires found the single most common profile wasn't a founder, an athlete, or an heir. It was what they called the saver investor. Someone who never had one big dramatic moment, who just quietly saved and invested for 30+ years straight. No headlines, no flashy reveal. Just consistency, compounding in silence. They're the least visible type of rich person on this entire list, and somehow, also, one of the most common. So out of all 10, old money, new money, tech, real estate, celebrity, athlete, investor, crypto, the inheritor, and the quiet rich, which one are you actually building toward right now? Drop it in the comments, because I genuinely want to know. And if this gave you a different way of looking at wealth, subscribe, because next, we're breaking down exactly how the quiet rich pull this off, step by step, even on an average salary.